Thank you very much. Savavo from America, and hopefully I said that right. Um, it's an honor to be at the Bosnia conference here, and hopefully in the future that I can attend in person. My presentation today is going to be on supercharging your teams with value stream management. For those who don't know me, I'm a chief scientist for value stream management at Digital.ai. I'm also a SAFE fellow, author, and methodologist. So enough about me. Let's talk about the topic today. So first of all, why is this important? Just to give a little bit of framing on the importance of this. Many organizations are spending millions of dollars. In fact, it's estimated by IDC that by 2023, $6.8 trillion will have been spent on global transformation. That's a lot of money. However, 70% of those digital transformations will fall short of their objectives, and these can often have dire consequences. And this is according to the Boston Consulting Group, and it is pretty much in line with what I've seen empirically. So the next question is, you have to ask yourself, why do these transformations fail? And so here are some reasons why digital transformations fail that I've surveyed myself, and that is due to siloed teams, data, and lack of visibility. So most organizations are still managing work in projects. So if you're doing Kanban, Scrum, XP, it doesn't matter, SAFe, Discipline Agile, it doesn't matter the method that you're using. If you're still managing work in projects, then you are inhibiting agility. There are many reasons for this, such as it does keep silo teams in place. It's difficult to align strategy and execution. When you have the project model and you do project portfolio management, you're often picking from the best project ideas. However, those project ideas are not necessarily in line with where you want to achieve your goals. So as an example, with value stream management, we'll take a portfolio approach. We'll have a portfolio of value streams. And what we'll do is we'll look at the current state of our value streams, and then what we'll also understand where we want to go in the future. And then we will purposely create initiatives that's meant to go from the current state to the future state. A lot of reasons why transformation fail is because leadership, we don't have the appropriate amount of leadership commitment and knowledge, or leaders aren't really engaged in the transformation. They just write a check and they give it to some consulting firm to implement the transformation. You can't do that. You have to do a transformation from inside. Of course, having help from the outside is important, but you need to have both. And finally, the biggest reason why I see that a lot of these transformations are failing is because there's not enough focus on improving flow. And according to our own survey, 91% are failing to get the business value of their digital transformations. And almost 50% are not seeing the results they expected. So they're seeing some results, but not the ones that they expected. So this is a really urgent issue that we need to pay attention to. We can't spend millions and billions of dollars on transformations that don't pan out. So let's look at some of the other root causes. Many organizations are doing Agile and DevOps. However, they're not gaining the business value of those Agile and DevOps transformations. And if you look at this Forrester survey here, you'll notice that 53% of the teams are releasing less often than monthly. Wow, still releasing less often than monthly. How agile can you be if you can only release monthly? So you might say to yourself, well, we've got DevOps in place, but if it looks like the picture on the right, very chaotic, put together with Band-Aids and string, you're not going to get very far. Yes, you're automated, but if you automate a bad process, that's not going to result in better value delivery. So what's the answer? What I found is very important is working in value streams instead of working in projects. And for those of you not familiar with what a value stream is, it's a series of interconnected processes that are needed to deliver a product or service to a customer. So anywhere in your organization where you have a product or you have a service, there is a value stream. Value streams also contain the people, process, information, and tools that are required to create and deliver value. What we're seeing here below is an example of a business or operational value stream. And this one happens to be for buying car insurance. And you'll see the steps in the value stream from attract customer. That's the trigger when somebody is looking to get car insurance. And then the customer gets value when the policy has been issued, and the company gets value when the customer starts paying their bill. There are two types of value streams. There are the business value streams, which we just went over, and we also have development value streams. A development value stream is where the software developers live. They live in that value stream. And they're there to take a benefit hypothesis, such as a feature, a product, or a service, and to convert that into value. And examples of this include developing an internal software application, designing wearable tech, implementing new features for a retail bank's website. Whereas a business value stream can be things like insuring a car, marketing and selling a product, providing a loan, and so on. So then it's important for us to look at not only value streams, but value stream management. And value stream management is a set of lean practices and principles that optimize people, process, and technology in order to improve the flow of business value from idea to customer delivery. So let's look at the various components of value stream management, and we're going to look at these one at a time. So I'm not going to read them off the slide here, and we'll start with people, because people are the primary determinant of success. But before we go there, I just want to read you a quote from Gartner, which I believe is very important. Given its benefits, it's not surprising that Gartner predicts that by 2023, 70% of organizations will use value stream management to improve flow in a DevOps pipeline, leading to faster delivery of customer value. So what are the benefits of value stream management? Well, first of all, you can't get the benefits of frameworks like SAFe, Scrum, or Kanban without applying value stream management. This allows us to get a faster flow of work and to really focus on value. When we are working in the project model, one of the problems is that there's a focus on completing my tasks instead of delivering value to the customer. And often when we execute projects, since normally we have to implement the entire scope, we focus on getting the tasks done quickly that are easy. So and then what may happen is that you run out of time to do the more valuable work. So that's another reason why the project model is flawed. I mean, that method, and I'm not bashing project management, I'm just saying that the project model, which was developed over 60 years ago, does not suit the needs of today's environment, where it's fast-paced, it's digital, there are constant twists and turns that we have to deal with. Things in the environment are constantly evolving. Look what happened last year with COVID. We had to adapt really quickly to that crisis. And if organizations had not been on their agile journey already, this would have been a complete economic disaster. So value stream management is a way that allows us to increase value, focus on value, where the whole purpose of our delivery is to provide value to the customer and to the company. This allows us to accelerate innovation, improving time to market, reducing cost. And another important thing is that you can have stable teams with project management. But if you're organized in a value stream, we can have stable teams which are long-lived. And what we do is we constantly feed the team new work without having to start a new project. We have a fairly stable team that stays in place for as long as that product or service exists. A big part of value stream management and lean is continuous improvement. So that's another excellent benefit that you get from value stream management. So let's look at the people components of VSM. So a value stream is a virtual organization, and that allows the value stream to organize and reorganize to responding to changing market conditions, changing technologies, changing products, and in the environment itself. So there are three key practices for people for value stream management. The first one is that we organize our teams around value streams, which are the products and the services that an organization provides. We want to create cross-functional agile teams, and we want to organize our value streams in portfolios. So when we organize our teams in value streams, a good idea is also to use an agile release train. If you have between 50 and 125 people, that will all be working together. And one of the tenets of lean is to have the shortest sustainable lead time with the best quality and value to people and society. And that is from the House of Lean. And what you're looking down below here is from Stanley McChrystal. He's a general in the US Army. And he talks about going from a command and control system to then going to a system of commanding teams. And finally, what Stanley McChrystal recommends is do a team of teams. So it's like a network. Anyone can speak to anyone else. We want to have cross-functional agile teams. And what I mean by that is that on a single agile team, we have a representative from the business. We have developers. We have testers. We have an operations person. The whole goal is to prevent handoffs and delays between teams. And this quote by Mary and Tom Poppendick says it all. Organizational boundaries can increase costs by 25% or more. They create buffers that slow down the response time and they interfere with communication. So that's why cross-functional teams is extremely important. What we want to do is we want to have teams and teams of agile teams, which we call ARTs in SAFE, that are optimized for flow. And what you're seeing here is a team of agile teams, or what's called an agile release train. And it has streamlined teams, it has platform team, an enabling team, and an actuarial business rules engine, which is a complicated subsystem team. And these team topologies come from a book that Matthew Skelton and Manuel Pace did. And they have been working to optimize the flow of teams for many years, and they came up with these four types. A streamlined team is a team that goes across the entire value stream and that it doesn't require handoffs and subsequent delays between teams because it goes across the entire value stream. An enabling teams can have a cognitive overload. And so enabling teams are specialists in a particular technical domain or other knowledge area, and they provide capabilities that help the stream align teams. Enabling teams can advise on tooling or practices or domain knowledge. The whole trick here is they want to reduce the cognitive overload on stream aligned teams. And then we have complicated system teams. This is where you would have your PhD type people, where significant mathematics or technical expertise is needed. These are people that are highly specialized, and there's very few of them. And finally, we have platform teams, which build internal workflows and tooling, such as developer platforms, cloud environments, development tools, and so on. If you hadn't had a chance to read this book, I highly recommend it. So the problem that they're trying to solve with team topologies is that what happens in most organizations is something that's called Conway's Law. And in 1967, Melvin Conway wrote an article in Datamation magazine, and he hypothesized that organizations that design systems are constrained to produce designs which are copies of the way that an organization is structured. So that causes architectures which are not easy to maintain, and often these architectures which have been created do not allow multiple teams to work on those architectures. So that's a big problem that team topology solves, and I've used it and it does work very well. The next thing we want to do from a people perspective is to organize our value streams in portfolios. And what you're seeing here is a fictitious insurance company, ABC Insurance. And they have 4 portfolios: home and auto, personal, recreational, and business. For each of those portfolios, you'll notice that there are value streams, the ones with the chevrons here. So in the home and auto portfolio, we have auto insurance, motorcycle insurance, condo insurance, home insurance, and renter's insurance. And in the personal insurance, we have medical, dental, and life. So why is this important? Well, when we are making investments, instead of investing in individual products, we want to invest in long-lived value streams that are organized around these products to deliver value, deliver solutions for those value streams. And this way, we can put our money where we believe that we can get the most amount of customer value and revenue. And this allows us to adjust our spend over the course of a year, and while keeping it to the overall annual budget. This is a good quote by Morris Chang, and I really think that companies are not paying enough to this. Without strategy, execution is aimless. Without execution, strategy is useless. And that's what I'm often seeing today, that there isn't a strategy on how to go from the current state to a better future state. And especially if you're using the project model and just picking amongst the best projects, it doesn't mean that you're going to get from the current state to the future state. You need a purposeful strategy to get from the current state to the future state. And I'm not seeing enough of this in companies where they're really paying attention to a strategy. And if they have a strategy, they're more like number one statements. We want to be the number one car company in the world. We want to be the number one insurance company in the world. That is not a strategy. Those are goals. Process. And enterprises' processes are a very critical component of value stream management. And to optimize this, you need to apply the 5 principles of lean, embrace the 7 principles of lean software development, and improve flow with something called value stream mapping. So I'm going to briefly go through these principles of lean. So one of the first things that it says is that we need to identify value. And that means we need to identify, what does value mean? So my definition of value is something that the customer is willing to pay for your product or services. The next thing you want to be able to do is map the flow of value through your processes on one page so that you can identify waste and identify ways to remove handoffs and delays and to have flow without interruptions, delays, or any kind of bottleneck. Once we have flow, we want to create a pull system. So we want to be able to pull the work instead of pushing it on the teams. And pull systems allow us to move much faster. A Kanban system is an example of a pull system that can be used in both a business value stream and a development value stream. And the last principle of lean is to seek perfection. So we want to make lean thinking where we are focusing on a relentless improvement and vigilance to perfection. We'll never achieve perfection, but if we strive for perfection, we are constantly improving. We're never saying things are good enough. We're looking to see how we can improve things. Next is the lean principles of product development. And Mary and Tom Popendick does a great job of describing these 7 principles. Because of our time box, I won't go into these in detail. And I think most of them are pretty self-evident, such as eliminating waste, building quality in, not trying to add it in later, creating knowledge, create learning quickly, defer commitment to the last responsible moment, deliver fast so we can get feedback as soon as possible. And we need to have a respect for people because people do all the work. And if their heads are not into the game, we're not going to get the best from people. If the environment that they're working in is not conducive to work, then we don't get the best out of people. And finally, optimizing the whole instead of just optimizing the individual parts. So one of the ways in which we can optimize the whole, not the individual parts, is to do something in lean, which is called value stream mapping. And it's been around for a very long time in the manufacturing field. So what's new about value stream mapping is now we're applying this to software and systems development. So there are 5 steps that you'll need to do in order to do value stream mapping. One is to prepare for the value stream mapping event. You need to identify the value stream that you want to begin with, set a date and book a meeting room. You want to also identify the people that you'll need for that value stream mapping. And the very first thing we do is that we map the current state. What are the high-level processes that we are going to map and understand how flow is currently going through the system? Next, designing your future state. So you review your current state map and you collect metrics and understand where bottlenecks are happening between steps. And then you identify an improvement plan to eliminate rework, unnecessary steps, handoffs between teams, which inhibit a relentless improvement. And then you incrementally execute the improvement plan and have a backlog of activities that you'll implement to achieve the future state. So what value stream would you select first? And right now I'm talking about development value streams, the value streams that produce the products and services that are sold by the operational value stream. I found that the first value stream to target often lies at the intersection of 4 key criteria. One of them is strong leadership support. Some senior leaders have previously experience with doing a digital transformation or an agile transformation. That would be a good value stream to start with because you're going to get more likely have their support. A value stream which is easy to identify, and those are typically the development value streams that produce a product or service for your organization. Do you have existing agile teams? it's always good to start with a value stream that has teams which are used to collaborating with each other. And then finally, the fourth criteria is that you want to work on a value stream what has a particular challenge or opportunity. Because if it works for that case, then it should work in all cases. If you pick a value stream that is very easy to do or to implement and it works, you're not going to build any credibility with people because they'll say, oh, that was that small value stream. Of course, value stream management works for that value stream. It's small. That's why you want to pick where's an area where you have a significant challenge or opportunity. And even just doing the value stream mapping can greatly improve things by 2x, 5x, even 10x improvement in the flow of value just to eliminating bottlenecks and delays. There's a toolkit that you can get from Scaled Agile called the Value Stream and Art Identification Toolkit, and it provides lots of good information on how you can identify your value stream. Now there's, somebody's asked me to enable live captions. Sorry, I just seeing that now. I'm not sure how to do that. If the meeting organizers can enable captions, that would be great. And I know that English is not everyone's first language. So now let's talk about technology. So just like DevOps cannot be done without automation, value stream management cannot be done without technology. And what you need is a value stream management platform. And some of the large capabilities that you need is doing software lifecycle orchestration. That means that you have a tool for enterprise agile planning, for DevOps release and deploy, security such as threat analytics, integration and testing of your solution, and operating and monitoring your solution. So it's not enough that you simply develop your software. It's got to be put into production. Otherwise, you can't get feedback from customers. And if you're not monitoring your solution, how will you know if anyone is using your software? Has anyone found that new feature? Is that feature actually solving the problem? Well, today, there are many tools that we can use to capture that information, such as Pendo. And then we can take the data from Pendo and we can show it inside a value stream management platform, showing, are customers finding the feature? Are they getting value from the feature? Are they saying that it is working well? We can then look at our revenue in that same VSM platform. And do we see revenue going up as we've implemented this new functionality? That's a strong signal. If they're both going up sequentially or exponentially in parallel, then we have a pretty good signal that new functionality, those development outputs, are providing business outcomes. And there are other signals that we can look at as well. For example, we can track OKRs, objectives and key results. And we can see that are we making progress using leading indicators towards meeting our objectives and key results. And we can also bring this into a VSM platform, and that becomes another signal whether or not we are producing business outcomes from the development outputs that we're doing. So we can't exactly correlate development outputs to business outcomes, but there are a lot of strong signals. We can look at our customer Net Promoter Score. We can take data in from our monitoring tools, whether it be Zendesk, ServiceNow, etc., and analyze the data coming in from support. Are people unhappy with certain features and technology, or are they giving good feedback? And finally, what we want to do from a technology viewpoint is to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to be able to predict things, such as if we release this change into production, is it going to pass or is it going to fail? And there's a lot of signals that we can use to understand whether or not a change will blow up in production. And this may be one of the most important aspects of a value stream management platform, the ability to predict change risk prediction. And over time, we can start applying artificial intelligence to other areas. And one area I'm really excited about doing is to predict business outcomes based on the development outputs that we're creating. So how do we measure what's happening in the value streams? And what Forrester says that organizations that only focus on output metrics, like how many features did we deliver? How many stories did we deliver? What is our velocity? They're not seeing the big picture, which is to ensure that they are delivering value to their customers and the business. So the only way that we can know that is through metrics. I mentioned one metric already, which is objectives and key results. That helps us understand if we're aligned between our strategy and execution, and are we making progress using leading indicators towards those objectives. Using DORA metrics to gauge your DevOps performance. And you can benchmark yourself against other organizations. And those provide a strong signal of whether or not that you're able to deliver your software in a reasonable time frame. And are you able to release frequently, which is not monthly. It's more like weekly or daily or whatever the business requires. So there's a whole bunch of metrics like mean time to recover, how many deploys and releases do you do, and so on. Flow metrics. How fast does value flow in the value stream from the time a request is received until that request is completed and it's implemented in production, and we have the instrumentation to actually measure that. Next, we want to look at performance metrics such as program performance. It's a set of metrics to determine how well a team and team of teams is predictably providing value to the business. Very, very important metric. The next metric is lean portfolio metrics. Understanding how each value stream is doing. Where might we need more investment? Where should we possibly put less investment based on the progress that we're making in each of our value streams? And finally, a general key performance indicators, which measures progress against a company's business goals. And together, we can have all of these metrics in a value stream management platform. And that's what I'm currently working on as chief scientist at Digital.ai. Having all these metrics, OKRs, and KPIs in a single system so we can really steer both not only development, but also the business. And then one can inform the other. I've created a value stream management adoption roadmap, and I'll just do it at a very high level because I see we're coming to the end of our time box. But it starts out with training our leaders, selecting a value stream, mapping the value stream, forming teams, organizing teams around value, and then prioritizing our investments, create a value stream management roles and train those roles, select the metrics, implement value stream management tools, and have that relentless improvement. Let's now move on to the next value stream to improve. As John Shukin says, if you don't know where to start somewhere and then learn from that experience. But I gave you some guidelines on what value stream you can begin with, a little bit more scientific. So if you would like to learn more, please download and read my new ebook. It's free from Digital.ai, and it will provide you with a lot of information about value streams and go over people, process, and technology in much greater detail. And you can find that information at this URL here. Thank you very much for having me at the Bosnia conference. It's been an honor to present to you and to be your keynote speaker. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.